Coach, obviously got kind of sloppy there at the end, but just maybe speak to the overall game and then what you saw maybe at the end there was at Memphis, just trying to speed it up and force you guys into those mistakes there.
Yeah, overall, happy with the win. You know, our guys played basically a heavyweight fight last night. Came in second night of back-to-back and toughed it out. You could tell there was some fatigue, you know, with just the focus and energy. But I thought Josh Okogie really helped us in that regard. You know, I thought he really impacted the game without scoring. You know, just making a lot of hustle and energy plays, and you know that stuff was contagious. I was proud of how Kevin responded. Okay, and played a really solid, efficient offensive night. Book gave us a big lift, obviously coming back, and happy to get the W.
Just maybe what led to him playing, and how do you feel like I know you just touched on it a little bit, but how you feel about how he played overall?
Yeah, well, I mean, he wanted to play. He wanted to play yesterday, you know, and his ankle just wasn't feeling well enough. So another day, you know, just got a little bit better and good enough to be out there. And he played a great game. You know, I mean, almost had a triple-double. You know, it just he's our leader, the leader of our offense in terms of organizing us. And, you know, it's always tricky when he's out of the game, you know, trying to just get us organized and get our guys in the right spot. So obviously, he carries a big load offensively with his ability to score in a variety of different ways. This team likes to muck up the game, you know, with overplays and denials, and you know, a lot of wrestling matches out there to try to get open. But our guys played through it all.
Do you feel like just that end of the game was more fatigue or more of what Memphis was doing?
Well, it was. I mean, Memphis played that way the whole game. You know, a denial style play the whole game, and you know, when we got the lead and it got down to crunch time, they started playing, you know, 6 seconds or less offense, where they're just coming down and just quick one-on-ones, and you know, they got two guys that can really go. You know, Bain and Jackson are both all-star level guys, and you know, we couldn't slow them down in one-on-one. We didn't want to double team them and open up the three-point line, you know, when we had a lead. So you know, but we're giving up too many easy twos.
You mentioned the denials Memphis had. Felt like they were top blocking a lot of what Book and Durant were doing. How'd you like the way that they kind of functioned as screeners to free themselves up a little bit?
Yeah, there's ways to counter that, and you know, throughout the game we got better and better with it, and ultimately used it against them, you know, to take advantage and get the win.
And I know that these guys have seen all types of defensive coverages, but how valuable can those reps be against certain coverages like that for everybody else as well?
Yeah, it's just, you know, part of the 82 game season. You know, when you see stuff like that, it helps prepare you for the playoffs. You know, because you're going to see a lot of different things in the playoffs come playoff time, and you know, when you have these experiences and you know what works and what didn't work against it, it helps you.
A little more than 8 minutes to play in the third. You guys are down 2. 14-0 run. Book scores 8 of the points there. A couple of them were getting to the rim. Anything about that sequence stand out, or do you think there was anything about the way he was getting to the rim there?
Well, yeah, I know we had a lapse in defense, in transition defense, not getting matched up, you know, which is unacceptable. So, you know, I called timeout and got after him a little bit about, you know, it's time to wake up. It's time to get control of this game. And I think during that stretch, you know, you alluded to it. Book just had a stretch where he took over a few offensive possessions, you know, and he's capable of doing that. We kept trying to counter what they were doing defensively, you know, to put our guys in position to use it against them. And I think during that stretch is where we did it the best.
Right, you guys limited them 9 of 31 from the three-point line. You guys are top 10 in the NBA opponent three-point percentage. Can you talk about that aspect of the defense? I know you said you wanted to see more, but what stands out to you about that so far?
Yeah, well, we were, you know, they're not a great three-point shooting team, but we still didn't want to turn them into a great three-point shooting team, you know, by bringing double teams. So even though Jackson was going a lot of the night, I was more on our guys to guard him better one-on-one than being inclined to go double teams. So, you know, we stayed out of double teams to help keep them from getting going from three.
Another thing you were able to do was get to the line a lot, especially key times. What were you doing as a team that?
Yeah, well, they were super aggressive, and they fouled us every time we tried to get open. They were fouling us. They were holding us, grabbing us. So, I mean, it was just a matter of time before the refs were going to blow the whistle.
You guys play the Lakers on Tuesday in the in-season tournament. What do you want to see your team do better to advance to Vegas?
we got to play a more complete game. We just got to keep growing. I mean, we got to familiarize ourselves with who's in uniform. It's been a different group every night, and hopefully we have the guys we had in there tonight.
Speaking of you guys, I think you guys have had 9 different starting lineups through 20 games. How challenging has it been to find any kind of chemistry? And just considering that, with the record, just considering that number, is this a pretty good number considering you haven't had a consistent
I don't know what the
lineup?
right number is you just got to deal with injuries as they come. Guys have been in and out of the lineup, and you do the best you can to have a consistent group out there, but it definitely does slow down the cohesion building process.
And was Devin on a minute restriction? Because the numbers suggest he wasn't.
It was not.
Okay.
During that 12-0 run in the third, Devin scored 10 in that stretch, but Josh definitely seemed like he was the spark on that, on defense. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, he was all over the place defensively. He's got that ability, to really, really impact the game with his defense and with his energy and hustle. Whether it's crashing the boards, getting a loose ball, setting screens, or just guarding his own man or making weak side plays. So he was really good during that stretch.
Coach, do you feel like these kind of games where you're playing a shorthanded team, do you feel like those are like some of the most difficult ones to game plan for?
Not really. The group they had out there today is the group they've had most of the season. I know they have some guys out for extended time, but they've had a chance to build some rhythm. And like I said, they got 2 guys that are all-star level guys in Bain and Jackson, and they got a lot of good role players and they're well coached. So we knew it wasn't going to be an easy out, and we're happy to get the W.
But they were trying to, hold you off a little bit.
Story of my life this year. No, it was, once it got better after the 4-hour flight, back from Toronto, I knew I was in a good place, different than the one that I had first game of the season at Warriors. When we landed in L.A. after that game, I could barely walk. But this one, it just kept getting better and better as time went by, so it was good to go.
Curious, just starting out early and maybe what got you going into the flow, you feel like, from the start of the game?
They had a big win last night. Watched the game closely and how they were defending. And they did a good job tonight, just making everything tougher, top blocking every action and forcing everything to the hoop and leaving Bismack there. So credit those guys for playing hard. We just had a few actions, a few counters that, showed well for us.
So one move in particular where you crossed over and spun and got to the lane, and I said, well, that's a sign that the ankle was right. Did you feel that similar, or did you feel a play earlier in the game that let you know that?
I went into the facility earlier today and tested it out, so, I knew it was ready to go.
You mentioned the denial and the top blocking that the Grizzlies were doing. How'd you like the way that you and KD kind of functions as screeners on your counters and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think, it's a learning thing too, where, teams will try that defensively and, just having a counter for every defense that teams throws at us is the goal. And, through the regular season, seeing those different looks is important and learning from them. So, we have an answer to, every test that team throws at us.
You're averaging a career high in free throw attempts this year. You got there 13 times tonight. I know that's been a long journey to get to this point, but what do you feel like has kind of clicked in terms of earning that respect?
I think half of it is a lot of them are fouls. I think the other teams, game plan or scheme against us is usually probably just be physical with KD and Book the whole entire game. So, we have counters for that, and, we know how to use people's contact against them. It's something I've been doing, a long time. I remember high school, every opposing team I'd play is the one football player on the court was the one guarding me. And just, trying to use their aggressiveness against them.
Devin, you hadn't had a chance to play against the Lakers, obviously, and you're going to get a chance to play against them in the in-season tournament. Just curious how are you feeling about the matchup, and then, you know, having to watch those previous games and now being able to be a part of it with it being in the in-season tournament.
Yeah, missing any game is tough. You know, I'm excited for this one. You know, I know they're playing well as of now, and you know they're back healthy. You know, they have their roster back, so you know, it'll be a heavyweight match in LA, and you know, a lot on the line. Winner goes to Vegas, so you know, I think everyone's looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
You and KD are 15-2, and you guys both start in the regular season. Can you talk to me a little bit about your guys' chemistry and relationship?
I mean, there's layers to it. You know, being a fan first of him, and you know, always watching his game closely, and you know, I remember being a rookie and you know, earning some respect for him. I remember looking at post-game conferences and how he would speak on me, and you know, that always gave me the confidence, you know, to get respect from the top dogs in the league, and you know, he's a living legend, and you know, I'm glad to be able to go to battle with him every time.
Devin, what was that difference there in the third quarter where you guys really took off?
I think getting stops, defending at a high level. Josh was all over the place today. Nas all over the place today, and I always say once we're defending and talking on defense that you know we can get out an offense and play a faster paced game and you know let our talent take over.
Wanted to follow up with Josh. He's been out and out of the starting lineup. You know, he probably goes into every game with a new role or what he has to do. But maybe just speak to what you saw tonight and what you've seen from him overall this year.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough job. You know, but he comes in with the right mindset every time. He's going to guard the other team's